Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be making this beanie here. So these are all post stitches. They are front and back post and crisscross on top of it. So just a little forewarning, if you are not a fan of doing front and back post relief stitches, or even crisscross stitches, this may not be the pattern for you. However, if you want to try it, I'm going to go as slow as possible and try to help you get through maybe that rough patch of not liking post stitches. But with that being said, we are naming this post Helene. So I made this during the storm, and I myself was saying, "Oh, which way, Helene?" because of the situation that was going on at the time. And so I created this zigzag effect. Now, this is a very thick and squishy hat. The crown is a standard increasing crown. You go up to 60 stitches. We will go through all 6 rounds of the increase rounds. Then we will do 9 rounds of pattern stitches, and then 4 rounds or more, if you so choose, of the brim. For this hat, I used a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. For this purpose of this tutorial, I will be using a 6 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm also going to be using a Premier Everyday yarn. Now, this is some older everyday yarn that I have, but the colorway is kiwi, and it is 100% anti-pilling. This is a worsted weight, and this skein has, let's see, 203 yards. It is a 4-ounce skein. And it is a recommended 5 millimeter knitting needles or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. But again, as I said, I will be using a 6 millimeter for the purpose of this tutorial. I do what is called a mock double crochet. I will go through the very first one nice and slow and up close and personal for you. And then after that, you can choose to do the mock double crochet or your chain of 2 or 3, however you like to start your double crochet rounds. When we get into the relief stitches, I will guide you through where the placement of your first stitch and how to continue to create a front and back post. Now, this is my, what we would normally say, outline. So this is through here. You can see kind of a little bit of a line here, not much, and the same thing down here. As to my beginning and end of my rounds, I use the mock double crochet, which makes it look very, very much like a double crochet, and it helps with that wonderful line that we get and blending it in a little bit better as we work our rounds. All right, so are we ready to get started? I know I am. Now, it is up to you if you like to do a magic circle to start your beanies. You are more than welcome to do so. I will be chaining 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to slip stitch to that very first chain, creating this ring. All of the stitches for the first 10 stitches will be worked into this ring over the top of my tail thread or tail yarn. Now I'm going to zoom in nice up close and personal so I can show you that mock double crochet. All right, if this is your first time here and watching, this is how I start all of my double crochet rounds. So I pull up a loop to about the height of a double crochet. I place my finger on that loop. Now it will slide to the end back and forth, but when I move it from up and down, that loop does not slip back and forth. So that is how you hold your stitch. This loop is the top of your mock double crochet. So we're going to bring our hook towards us, down, tip it down and under and back up. Now I'm going to reach around and go into that circle and yarn over and pull up a loop. So that gives us 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through the last 2. You see that is the one that I was holding. So I'm going to go through that, and that is now the top of our very first double crochet. So here I'm just going to pick up that loop that I was holding, and that is the top of that first double crochet. All right, I'm going to zoom back out a little bit, and we're going to work 9 more double crochets into that ring and slip stitch to where our stitch marker is to complete round 1. At the end of round 1, you will have 10 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Make sure and double count your stitches, and you might have to shift them around a little bit. Now, if you so choose to begin your round with a chain up of 2 or 3 stitches, or chain 1 and double crochet into the stitch, I personally just like a mock double crochet. All right, so let's move into our increasing round, round 2. At the end of this round, you will have a total of 20 double crochets, including your very first stitch. So mock double crochet and double crochet 1 more time back into that same stitch. And you're going to go around placing 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around for round 2. Double count your stitches at the end of round 2 to make sure that you have 20 stitches. We're now going to slip stitch to that very first stitch, or the top of your chain if you are chaining. There we go. And now we're going to go on to round 3. At the end of round 3, you will have a total of 30 stitches. So we're going to mock double crochet into that first stitch and place 1 more double crochet into that same stitch. And replace the stitch marker. And now we're going to place 1 double crochet into the following stitch. This is our repeat for round 3. 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and 1 double crochet into the following. Go ahead and continue that repeat all the way around for round 3, slip stitching to the very first stitch for a total of 30 stitches. All right, once you have reached the end of round 3, we're going to move on to round 4. Round 4, we're going to start with 2 double crochets, so a mock double crochet and a second double crochet into that very first stitch. Now I'm going to replace my stitch marker at the top of that mock double crochet. And now we're going to place 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And that is our repeat. 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and 1 double crochet into each of the following 2 stitches. You will repeat that to the end of the round, slip stitching to your very first stitch for a total of 40 stitches. I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, to begin round 5, we're going to begin with 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. So a mock double crochet and 1 more double crochet. Replacing my stitch marker at the top of that mock double crochet. Now we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of the following 3 stitches. And 3. And this is your repeat for the round. 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. You're going to repeat that repeat to the end of the round and slip stitch to your very first stitch to complete round 5 for a total of 50 stitches. I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, last increasing round. We are going to put 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. So mock double crochet and another double crochet, replacing our stitch marker when we get done with that second one. There we go. And now we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. And this is your repeat for round 6. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So you're going to continue this repeat all the way to the end of the round. And once you have reached the end, you are going to slip stitch to the very first stitch. And then we will begin our 9 pattern rounds. At the end of this round, round 6, you will have a total of 60 stitches. All right, we're going to begin our pattern rounds now. So the very next round, round 7, which we're going to change over to round 1 of your pattern rounds. So we have 6 increase in rounds, 9 pattern rounds. If you're following along with me, if you want to do more, you can most definitely do more. But for pattern round 1, we're just simply going to place 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around. All right, we're going to slip stitch to our very first stitch to end round 1 of our pattern rounds. Round 2 of our pattern rounds is going to be a front post, back post round. So we're going to begin with a mock double crochet front post around our very first stitch. So I'm going to create the mock double crochet front post. So instead of going into the stitch, we're going around the post. And then the next one is a back post double crochet, and you will repeat front post double crochet, back post double crochet, just like such. I'm going to replace my stitch marker and continue around front post, back post, all the way around until you have reached the end. At the end of round 2 of your pattern stitches, you will still have 60 stitches. Slip stitch to your very first stitch, and I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, let's begin round 3 of our pattern rounds. So I've slip stitched to my very first stitch here, which was a front post. Now we're going to do a mock double crochet front post, but we're going to jump over to our next front post to create that front post. So I'm going to pull up a loop just like I've been doing, create that loop around my hook, and then I'm going to skip the next stitch, which is a back post, and I'm going to do a front post mock double crochet all the way over on that front post. Now I'm going to reach back to the first front post that we were slip stitched to, the first stitch back here, and I'm going to front post that stitch, and I'm going to crisscross over the front. So I'm going to front post double crochet that very first front post. So we're skipping our back post and we're only working on the front post, and we're crisscrossing in the front. That is important because part of the pattern we crisscross in the back and part of the pattern we crisscross in the front. All right, so we're going to skip the next back post and front post the next front post double crochet. And now without doing anything major, we're going to go back and front post double crochet around the previous front post. So we're just crisscrossing in the front. All right, so here is front post, and that's the next front post. So you can see this one is already worked from our crisscross before. We have a back post behind it. So what we have here is, I'm going to leave that DPN in here just so that way you can see where I'm going, hopefully. So I'm going to jump over to my next front post double crochet, and I'm going to front post double crochet that stitch. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that previous front post double crochet, and I'm going to front post double crochet it. Okay, here we are. Now that is the current crisscross that we just did over those two stitches. So your next two stitches would be skipping the next back post and working into the next front post double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to hop over, I'm going to skip over our next back post double crochet, and I'm going to front post double crochet the following front post double crochet. Then I'm going to go back one front post double crochet and front post double crochet that stitch. This is why I'm using a 6mm crochet hook instead of the 5.5. I wanted to have plenty of room to show you what I was doing here. All right, so that is the repeat all the way around. You're going to skip your back posts and leave them unworked, and only work your front post double crochets. Each of your front posts are going to have 2 front post stitches. When we get to the end, I want to show you how to complete this round. I'll meet up with you at the last few stitches. All right, we've come up to the last couple of stitches I have to work. I have to work this first one and the last one more time. All right, so we need to find our crisscross here, and we're going to split the crisscross. And what I do is just stick my thumb in between, so that way it's popping that first crisscross, the top of it, up towards me. And now if you did the mock double crochet like I showed you, you will have this like strand here, this loop. We need to make sure to incorporate that when we do our next stitch. So we need to front post double crochet around the same post that we front post double crochet around with that very first stitch. But we need to go behind that stitch to keep the pattern the same. So what you're going to do is, so here's our crisscross here. Here is the post. Locate the post that it's attached to. Yarn over, go under that post, and then come up, tip your hook to go up behind. See how I'm coming out behind that first post? Yarn over and pull a loop through. So now I'm actually above and I'm connecting, I'm pulling that little strand there together. And I'm going to front post double crochet. That puts it the same as the rest of these front post double crochets. Now we're going to go back and we're going to front post double crochet our last front post double crochet. And then slip stitch to the top of our mock double crochet. There we are. Let me get rid of the hook a moment and we'll take a little better look at it. So what that did was that kept that same look. If we would have put that one in front, it would have pushed that front post crooked. It would have pushed it to the back and the design would be off right there. All right, we're going to move on to round 4. Round 4 is another post round. So we need to slip stitch over 1 stitch. Here we are. We're slip stitching 1 stitch over. That is a front post right here. And we're going to front post double crochet that stitch. So we're going to mock double crochet, front post, just like that. Then we're going to go to our next crisscross, and you have a post in the front and a post in the back. We need to back post that back post double crochet here. Back post double crochet around the double crochet that is to the inside of your hat. Front post double crochet all of the front side of your crisscross. So let's do this again. Locate your next crisscross. We need to back post double crochet the double crochet that is towards the inside of your work. So back post double crochet. There we go. And then front post double crochet the one that is facing the front side of the work or the outside of the work. And that's your repeat all the way around. Locate your next crisscross, back post double crochet, front post double crochet. Locate the next one, back post first, and then front post. Go ahead and continue that all the way around. When we get to the end, I will work through the last few stitches with you, so that way we can complete round 4 together of our pattern stitches. All right, so we're coming up to the end of the round. We have 1 stitch left, and that is a back post. So our very first crisscross, we need to make sure that we're going around that back post. So get it, because we started with a front post. We need to end with the back post. Double crochet. And then we're going to slip stitch to the top of our very first stitch, and that will complete round 4. All right, to begin round 5, we're going to slip stitch to the back post, the next stitch. We're going to slip stitch over to that stitch. All right. Now we're going to mock double crochet front post this next stitch right here, which is the front post. Now we're going to come back and back front post. We're going to go behind this post here and front post crisscross this stitch that we just skipped from, the one that we slip stitched to at the end of the previous round. We're going to go behind that last double crochet we made, and we're going to front post double crochet the previous front post. So that is your crisscross. Let me put the stitch marker at the top of that mock double crochet so you can see it a little bit better. All right, so that is our crisscross. The next stitch we do is we're skipping over to our next front post. We're still working on the front post. The only difference is, instead of creating the front post double crochet crisscross in the front, we're actually going behind and picking it up and front post double crochet. So what that does is, the previous one, when we did it in the front, it created a left lean to our stitches. Now we're doing it in the back, and it's creating a right lean to our stitches. So let's do that one more time together. This is going to be your repeat all the way to the end, and I will meet up with you at the end to show you how to finish the last stitch and join in the round. So once again, here we are, we're skipping over. This one was worked, so we're skipping over to the next unworked front post. And we're going to front post double crochet that stitch. Now we're going to go behind it, the last work stitch. We're going to go behind it and pick up that previous front post. Pop it up and front post double crochet that stitch. There we go. So that is your crisscross there. All right, go ahead and continue all the way around for round 5, and I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, let's go ahead and finish up round 5 by doing exactly what we've done previously. We need to complete the last 2 stitches, the last crisscross. So we need to go around this one, and we need to make sure that we're going in the right spot, which is in front of that stitch. So front, and then we're going to go behind and catch the previous one. To complete the last crisscross stitch. All right, now we need to slip stitch to the very first stitch. And we are going to repeat this round one more time. So we need to slip stitch to the next stitch, to the back, to that back post right there. We need to just slip stitch over to it. And we are going to mock double crochet front post this next stitch. So I'm going to mock double crochet front post that front part of the X of that crisscross. Now we're going to find our previous front post, the one that we slip stitched to end the previous round, and we're going to go behind and there we go, front post that double crochet, and that will create our crisscross stitch. Let me get my stitch marker in this very first stitch before I lose it. Sometimes you have to, like I said earlier, put your thumb in between that front and back post to be able to separate it out and only get that post. There we go. It's a little tedious to get started, but once you get going, it makes it's a little bit easier. All right, so now we're gonna jump to our next front post of the next cross stitch. So find your next cross stitch. Once you've located it, you can front post that double crochet that's on top, and then reach behind and go back to the previous one and front post double crochet it. So we're keeping the crisscross the same to the back. One more time, and then I'm going to let you finish the round by yourself, and I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, so I'm going to locate my next crisscross set of stitches. Found them. Front post double crochet the front stitch of that cross. Now I'm going to go back to the previous front post, and which is this one, and front post double crochet it. It's a little tedious. I'm not going to lie. This is a little tedious, but it's worth it in the end. All right, so go ahead and finish working this round of crisscrosses to the back, and I'll meet up with you down here at the end, and we'll finish up the last couple stitches together, and we'll move on to the last 3 rounds of our pattern rounds. All right, to finish up this round, we just have to complete our last crisscross here, and that is front post double crochet that next stitch, which is actually technically our first set of stitches, and then back post or front post double crochet the previous front post double crochet. to complete that last crisscross. Now, if you count your crisscrosses around, you should have a total of 60 stitches still. Slip stitch to the very first stitch. All right, so now we're repeating a round that we have previously done. We are going to front post double crochet the front double crochet stitch, and then back post double crochet the back double crochet stitch of each of those X's. So we're going to start right here with our very first X, and we're going to mock double crochet front post that front double crochet of the stitch. I'm going to replace my stitch marker. This is round 7 of our pattern stitches. Now I'm going to back post. Let me get things separated here. I'm going to back post double crochet that back double crochet of the cross stitch. All right, locating my next crisscross stitch, the front double crochet, I am front post double crocheting. And then back post double crochet that back stitch of that crisscross. Okay, so front post the front part of the crisscross and back post the back stitch of the crisscross. One more time real quick, and then I'm going to let you work the rest of the round by yourself. Here we are, located my next crisscross. I am going to front post double crochet the top double crochet and back post double crochet that bottom double crochet. All right, I'm going to meet up with you at the end of round 7, and we will move on to round 8. All right, we're going to finish round 7 with a slip stitch to the very first stitch, which was a front post double crochet. Round 8, we're going to do that crisscross in the front round. So here we are. I'm just going to slip stitch to the next stitch, which is a back post, and I'm going to mock double crochet the next front post, and then I'm going to front post double crochet from the front this front post double crochet behind the one we just worked. So we went in reverse, like such. All right, and now we're going to do that again, where we're going to work forward 1 stitch and back 1 stitch. We're going to front post double crochet the next front post double crochet, and then we're going to go back on the front side and front post double crochet the previous front post. So this is also repeating a previous round. Front post double crochet the next front post, and front post double crochet the previous front post. Just like that. All right, go ahead and continue working your way around with the crisscross stitches, and then we will finish with one last round of pattern stitches for round 9. I'll meet up with you at the end of round 8. All right, so here we are at the end, and we're going to complete with one last crisscross here. So we're gonna reach over and front post double crochet the next front post, and in front, finish by going in front, and front post double crochet the previous front post double crochet, and slip stitch to the top of your very first stitch. Now for round 9, we are going to make this round one more time. So we're going to do our crisscross stitches exactly the same. We're going to a front post double crochet, so a mock front post double crochet, this double crochet here, the very next front post double crochet, and then we're going to go from in front and front post double crochet the previous front post double crochet. So we're just repeating the same crisscross round where we're working in the front. There we go. All right, so once again, we're going to reach over front post double crochet, your next front post double crochet, and then we're going to crisscross by front post double crochet the previous front post. And that is your repeat for round 9. I'll meet up with you at the end where we finish up and slip stitch to the top of the very first stitch. All right, so here we are at our last crisscross. I'm just going to once again want to make sure that that crisscross is to the front, and then come back and catch that previous double crochet for in the last front post double crochet of round 9. I'm going to slip stitch to my very first stitch. And now we're going to start working our brim rounds. This is however many rounds you want to do. I will be doing 4, at least 3, if not 4. So I'm going to show you how to work your front post, back post for rounds 1 and 2, and then you can continue on for as many rounds as you so desire. So for this first round, we need to go back to like we did prior on the crisscross, where we work a front post on the front post and then a back post on that double crochet that's to the back. So we're going to mock double crochet front post the front post of the next stitch, replace my stitch marker, and then back post double crochet that back double crochet to your crisscross. So we've done this already prior in the pattern. Just wanted to do a little reminder. Front post double crochet all of those front posts that you see. And the ones on the back are back post. And you're just front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around to the very end, and slip stitch to your very first stitch. At the end of the round, you should have 60 stitches still. And I will meet up with you at the end of the round, and I will show you how to carry on and your repeating round for your brim. All right, so here we are. Your next step is, this is your repeating round. This is how you will repeat until the brim is to the size you choose. So you're going to mock front post double crochet your front post, your very first stitch. Replace your stitch marker. and then back post your back post double crochet. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around. Front post double crochet, the front post double crochet, and back post double crochet your back post double crochet. That is all there is to your brim rounds. You're just going to continue to repeat front post, back post rounds until it is to your desired height. So as I said, I prefer 4 rounds. I like at least 4 rounds. And that is it for Post Helene. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or need a little extra help working through the pattern section, please reach out. I will do my best to help you any way that I can. If you make this hat, I would love to see it. You can share it over on our Facebook group. You could send it to me, a picture of it to me in an email. You can tag me on Instagram. All of that information is linked down below in the description box. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now, everyone.